We got news, boys. We got breaking news.
We do?
Broussard, the Ole Miss offensive lineman. I'm just basing – my source is the chat. I'm obviously on the show with you guys. Everybody's saying that he committed. Broussard, who we talked about last week on the show a little bit.
Okay. Well, there it is.
Well, that solves it, guys. Arkansas's loaded in the portal.
Yep. I see it now. According to Chris Hummer, he says that he's transferring to Arkansas. 6'6", 310 pounds, and was part of the 2024 Ole Miss signing class. So there you have it. We talk about it being quiet, and here you go. You got you an addition on the offensive line with Broussard. It's again. We can react in real time to this as far as who he is and the type of player he is. But at least coming out of high school, it looked like he was a 3-star player, the number 20 player out of the state of Louisiana. He's from Zachary, Louisiana, number 52 offensive tackle coming out of high school. And the reason I keep referencing high school is because, again, he just literally was a true freshman last year. So not a whole lot on him as far as his run, as far as where he played or anything like that. But they need offensive line help, and this was somebody that they're on, and he's a guy that played in SEC school. So there you go. You got one from Ole Miss when they stole half your roster over there on the other end.
Yeah. Here's my thought on it. Like what Stripey says, man, we got a lot of offensive tackles. Yeah, they do, man. They've got a ton of tackles. Somebody's going to have to play guard. They're going to have to move somebody inside to figure that out. But no, listen, I like this get because it's a young guy, who's been in the SEC. I like the other additions better in terms of overall talent and guys who can make an impact right away. But it's kind of like what we talked about. We thought that they would add another offensive lineman because you can never have too many, and you got to have depth. And some of those guys who you did have that maybe didn't even play that much are going to be gone. So you got to replenish that. Tykees Crawford's out of here. He's in the portal. I think Joe Moore, like his eligibility is up. So you got to add guys. I like the idea of adding a young guy who's got the size, got the upside that you can develop and see what he turns into, as opposed to bringing in these grad transfer types that you're just never going to play. But I like this one a little bit better, I think.
Yeah, I mean, we all did the song and dance when Joe Moore signed, or when he transferred to Arkansas last offseason. We were like, oh, okay, a fifth-year senior depth piece. Like, yeah, maybe he could play tackle, maybe he could play guard. And then, like you said, we just never saw him. So really, if you look at the Arkansas offensive line, what they've got, obviously, Carmona and Robinson, that's two tackles right there. You feel very good about that. Kittler's obviously, you would assume would be your starting center. You feel pretty good there. Then at guard, it's kind of – they've got a collection of guys. I mean, Amarian Harris is returning. He started some games at guard, moved to tackle. He obviously will be in the mix at somewhere. Keyshawn Blackstock, to our knowledge, is still on the roster, still alive. Hypothetically, he could be there. You've also got Jaquan McCroy, who is a tackle, but obviously he's not going to start over Corey Robinson or Fernando Carmona. Maybe you move him to guard. Maybe this Broussard kid is one that they're thinking, hey, he's 310 pounds. Maybe we bulk him up a little bit and just make him an oversized guard. Like, maybe we'll do that. So I think you've got a collection of guys that hypothetically could be in that guard mix. Not to mention your Brooks Edmondson coming back, your Kobe Branham coming back, and in Josh Street or whoever you want to make a case for. So I think that's kind of the way I view it. I think Arkansas also, with some of these guys like McCroy and like Broussard, they're depth pieces, and they're just young guys that you're kind of taking a swing on where, you're not necessarily saying, hey, Broussard, we need you to start at left guard. But if, maybe they throw him out there at practice and he looks good, cool. Maybe McCroy goes out there at right guard and looks good at practice, but it doesn't look like they're like putting all their eggs in one basket at the guard position, which, by the way, someone shame me for saying it. It's kind of what I said they would do and what it seemed like would be the case, because it's a lot easier to move a tackle to guard than to move a guard to tackle. And so I actually kind of like the idea of bringing in young, guys that you view as talented tackles that hypothetically could play guard. And I think that's kind of where you see Arkansas going with the offensive line.
They're big as hell, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're big boys. Huge. We're getting back to the 2014 days.
Yeah. Yeah, we're going to have to see that graphic every time the Razorbacks play again. Be like, this is the heaviest offensive line, more so than the NFL, like every single time. But no, that's like what you guys said about the offensive line. It's funny because you get two guys that are true freshmen this past year that didn't really play, and then you get them in here. Again, yeah, I agree with you, Andrew. I don't think they're guys that you're just going to be like, okay, you have to play right now and you kind of have to save us here. It's something to where if you're going to try to develop, which we've even talked about, offensive line maybe more so than anything, it's tough to just have these 1 year guys, one in year one year out every single time, a rotating deal there. You have to be able to have some sort of development. You have to have some sort of continuity. And I think that it's almost like, in a way, you've signed a kid out of high school, essentially. from this transfer portal. I mean, these guys played 1 year, but at least they had 1 year of practice when it came to major SEC schools, both of them at really good SEC schools or good schools this past year, one with Oregon, one with Ole Miss. But I think that it's a matter of, hey, let's get these guys on campus. Let's develop them. And who knows, maybe after spring camp and maybe through fall camp and all of that, they really surprise us. We really get impressed and suddenly they find their way onto the roster. But it's also not going in with the mentality of, at least I hope this is not what Pittman and them did. I don't think they would, but saying, hey, you're going to be the starter next year. Like, no, come in there and try to work at it and see how it goes. But I think they at least opened it up for their opportunities to say, hey, come in. I'm not going to guarantee anything, but if you impress us and you end up doing some really good things in spring and all that, you are going to have the opportunity to play and play often for us, because it's not like we're fully set on the offensive line, but we're also not counting on you to save us on the offensive line either.
I cannot wait personally until we get to fall camp and we hear from Eric Mateos and he tells us they've got 10 starters on the offensive line. I can't wait for it. No, I'm seriously, I'm glad that they're making additions here. I think that they're probably done on the offensive line. And I mean, I think if you look at it as a whole, you lose Kudus, you lose Nichols, you lose Braun. But then, you add Kittler, you add Robinson, you get Big McCroy, and then you get this kid. It seems like they're doing a pretty decent job of at least, replacing their losses. We'll see how it all shakes out positionally and everything like that. But we knew that it was going to have to be a heavy emphasis. They've gone out there and gotten 4 guys. Just looking at the on-3, just the transfer portal rankings, for whatever it's worth. People like to hear about that stuff. But Broussard's a 3-star transfer, comes in at number 606 nationally, the 44th offensive tackle. And so that's like the 4th best guy you brought in. Okay, fine. Not too shabby. Also, he's from Zachary, Louisiana. Andrew, thoughts?
I pitched against Zachary my junior year of high school. Did not go very well. They had a catcher that was committed to Southeastern. What was his name? Evan Pace, I think was his name. Southeastern might not sound like a crazy school. When you're in high school and you're facing a guy that's playing catcher at that level, he hit a home run off of me that was still going up when it was going out of the park. That's my only memory of Zachary, Louisiana. But it's down in the Baton Rouge area. Listen, that's Louisiana. A 3-star in the state of Louisiana is like a 7-star in Arkansas. So it's like that's where I'm proof of that. The Louisiana, man, you take a chance on any of those Louisiana hogs. We need to build that pipeline back up.
I hear you, man.
Also having a city named Zachary, it's like, hey, I'm from Jonathan. It's like okay, like who decided the city name is just gonna be Zachary?
Yeah.
But hey, it's a place that people live, and apparently produced a big old offensive lineman that's gonna be playing for Arkansas.
And let's be honest here. Like Lane Kiffin is still winning the portal wars with Arkansas here, but at least you got one from him. As soon as we saw that this kid was going to visit Arkansas, immediately I was all over it. I was like, I don't care who he is, don't know who he is, haven't looked it up yet. You got to get him. Like, you got to get one back on Lane. They did that, and winning a recruiting battle over Vanderbilt means a little bit more than it used to.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Like, I know that sounds like a joke. Like, it really is notable. I mean, but Vanderbilt is kind of trendy these days. I mean, they had a 6-6 season. Like, they're kind of trending in a nice direction. I mean, listen, it's nice to just get a guy that other people wanted, frankly. And I've said that all along. Like, even if it is just Vanderbilt, it's like, it is nice that you get someone. Again, this isn't like a guy that is going to be like, oh, this is the missing piece. This is a guy that has all these great accolades or anything. But, I like this pickup in the context of what it is.
Yeah, I think it's fine. It's fine. Look at that, guys. We had 2 kind of nice little news nuggets that popped up during Razorback basketball being back in the top 25 and had a portal pop. So, which,
by the way, there was like some argument in the chat as to whether or not Arkansas was actually ranked. They are, I promise. Yep. They're there. 23 people. Sometimes. Yeah, it takes a little bit, especially if you're looking at like on ESPN or something. It takes them a little while, but yeah, they're in there for sure. And I do want to finish my point real quick before that happened. I was trying to make it, and I was seeing the chat too. It was like, Broussard, portal pop. And I was like, I just need to wrap it up so we can talk about this. The reason that I refer to the on-3 rankings in the transfer portal is because it takes into account what you've lost versus what you've added. So I think it's a more accurate reflection of like where you're at in terms of replenishing needs and factoring those things in and what you have left to do. So where people are freaking out about it, saying, well, why is Arkansas so much higher than these other ones? Well, based on what they brought in, especially with the volume that they're going to have with, 24 guys or whatever, looks pretty good, but you also have to account what they have to replace. And so that's why I think those are a little bit more valid to me.
And I would also add that like 24/7, who, by the way, I mean, like, we used to work for 24/7, like does awesome work. Like they especially when it comes to recruiting and portal stuff like that, they do good stuff. But a big part of their thing is their high school evaluations. So a guy like Jaden Platt from Texas A&M, who has 2 career catches and hasn't done much, he was a 4-star recruit, a top 100 guy. So he's rated as a pretty high transfer. Same with Jaquan McCroy, despite the fact that he didn't play at Oregon. He's rated as a pretty high transfer, so Arkansas is getting a bump for some of those guys. Whereas like a guy like Raylan Sharp, who might be one of Arkansas's most impactful transfers, honestly, he's not even ranked hardly at all in 24/7. And so that's another reason why you see Arkansas being number 15 in the country in 24/7. So I think as of today, did you say Arkansas? I think they're 63rd and on 3 as of this morning. That's when I checked.
Yeah.
Maybe Broussard moves the needle. I don't know. And they were 15th in 24/7. And so that, again, I'm glad you clarified that discrepancy, because I tweeted about it the other day and people really got heated up about that.
Yeah.
Well, also throw into whoever does the 24/7 sports transfer portal things for the team. They're getting coal in their stocking, because I don't know how this is sorted. I don't know it's not alphabetical order. It's not by the date that they committed. It's not by position. I don't know what they're doing. And so I have to go through and find, it's just annoying. That's just something I wanted to bitch about, but it's stupid and it's dumb. But at least as of right now, they're still 15th in the rankings at 24/7 Sports. But I don't know if that's actually updated since the Broussard deal. So,
gotcha.
But yeah, we'll see how it goes